Hey, welcome to the Vermont Homestead YouTube channel. I'm Bo Belutsky, this is my wife Donna, and today we're going to be talking about how we came to be here at this particular homestead. Some of the things that we were looking for when we chose this place, some of the things that we've got on our plans for the future, and how we want to move ahead in regards to getting us from where we are today to where we need to be tomorrow. So why Vermont? So we were in the military, we were a military family. We were in the military for about 30 years. We met while stationed in Florida and had been coming out here because we had family in the area. Now, when I got near the end of my 30 years of enlistment, we decided to make this our home.
Yeah, we were looking for somewhere that had 4 seasons. And this made sense. This is a place that I grew up coming here since I was a little girl. And then as a family, we brought the kids up here and we just always enjoyed all the things Vermont had to offer.
Now, I grew up in Hawaii, so this was a far departure from what I was used to. Hawaii obviously doesn't have snow, so this took a little bit of getting used to, but I loved it. And we're so glad that we came to settle here. So why this particular homestead, this site? It really wasn't our first choice because we had wanted to purchase family land that had been in the family since 1936. And when that fell apart, we started looking. I was on an R&R from the Middle East, my last assignment overseas, and Donna found something online.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the thing that attracted me the most was the pool, which we no longer have. You'll find out later.
Right. We came up here together, kind of a little bit dejected because we couldn't get our first choice, which was an 1800s farmhouse that our great aunts had built and had renovated and had been living in since the 30s. And so when we came up here, it was a little heavy-hearted, but once we got here, everything changed. What did we like about this place when we came here? The first thing that I noticed upon getting onto the property itself was the brook. We crossed over a bridge, and I immediately noted that that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, that was so cool. And then when we came in the house, I remember going room to room. And at one point, Tiffany, our oldest daughter, she at the time was in real estate. And she pulled me into the bathroom and the real estate agent went and she said, "Mommy, if you guys don't buy this house, you're crazy."
Right. And so as I walked around the property, just kind of scoping things out, I started noting all of the things that were great about it, like its own source of water, its secondary source of water, how it sat on a hill, the distance between us and other people, and just the sheer amount of land that was already open for cultivation. So those were things that really set me on the path to wanting this house and wanting to live here.
And I think also for me, like, I love to be in the outdoors and just all of the wooded area and just being able to go traipsing through the woods and everything and exploring nature was really great for me. I love that idea.
So since that day, when that day finished, we were kind of just really bouncing around. I remember being on the back of the property up on the hill, and I remember just saying, "I want this house. I want this house." And I was a few days from getting back on a plane to go back to the Middle East. So we hope that our offer would be acceptable to the folks who were selling it. But the whole way back to where we were staying, I just kept saying, I can't imagine our retired life without that house. I wanted this house. How we were situated when we first got into this house. I had just returned from the Middle East. It was a few months after we purchased the house, and I was in between my last year and a half on active duty and full retired life. So I was actually living 2.5 hours away from the home. So one of the things that was very important to me was that this house would be fairly well or fairly easy to manage, but that proved not to be the case because it was, I got back in July, and before too long the winter set in, and we were not really ready for that whole onslaught of snow in the first year.
Yeah.
So where we were, we had to start immediately building capabilities that we were not used to in the past. I basically said that I would buy or find a plow truck, and we did. And in 2013, we bought a plow truck. And although I was still sharing my time between here and near the Boston area, that truck went with me. So it was a little bit more difficult than it should have been in regards to keeping our house winter ready.
Right, but if you remember, on the weeks that we knew a storm was coming, you left the truck here.
Right.
And I had to quickly learn how to plow.
Right.
And I do have to say, Sonny came by,
Right.
and he was wondering who plowed the driveway.
Right.
Because it was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And it was me.
Sure, okay.
It's true,
Yeah,
ask him.
I would imagine it to be the case. Yeah, but regardless of that, we did have our fun issues with our plow truck over the course of the years, and then of course we have a wood burning furnace in the backyard. So that used to be half of our heating capability with an oil burning furnace as well, and that became a little bit cumbersome. Maintaining that, because if it went out, then you were on full oil burn. But anyway, so for the first few years, it was a little bit of a challenge getting used to all of the things that we needed to do to keep ourselves warm in winter. And then when the summer came along, things were a different story as well, because the grass grows out here very, very quickly.
It does, but it also lended to a lot of opportunity to start gardens.
Right.
And that's been a great adventure that
Right.
we've enjoyed a lot.
Right. So as we looked at the things that we wanted to do, they hinged on self-sufficiency and self-sustainability, to include getting our own wood, maintaining our own gardens, and then eventually growing fish.
Yeah, fish pond and a little greenhouse.
Right. And so those are the things that we're currently engaged in, with an eye on the future for even more as we start moving towards that self-sustainability, to include getting ourselves off of what would be considered the grid. Whatever the grid means to you, it just means that we want to get to a place where we're no longer needing to buy any oil or any electricity, and we come to a place where we're 100% creating most of our energy and a good portion of our food, which is what we'd like to do. So one of the main drivers for us moving into that area of self-sustainability or self-sufficiency was kind of a byproduct of me going to school after I got out of the military. I started using my GI Bill because my kids weren't going to use it. 2 of our boys were in the military and they didn't need it. And so I said, well, I'm just going to go do something that I want to do. And I took a course of study, which was a master's degree in Homeland Security. And during that time, I found out how fragile a lot of our key and critical infrastructure is in this country. And that really opened my eyes to what could possibly happen in the event of whatever catastrophe or failure on the part of municipal services. And so right after I started that course of study, we decided on getting solar energy, and then started looking at ways to replace a lot of the things that are key and critical that the economy currently provides, and try to wean ourselves off of all of those types of activities, functionality, or commodities. And that's where we started moving ahead with that self-sustainability. And of course, one of the other things that we wanted to do was do things that we wanted to have, to get things that we wanted to have before we got too old to enjoy them, right? So this room.
Yeah, so I wanted a hot tub, and I didn't want it to be out in the cold because I wanted to use it, and I knew if it was outdoors that I probably wouldn't use it in the winter. And so he built us this room, this beautiful room, and enclosed our hot tub, and we enjoy it all year round now. In the summertime, we turn the temperature down to about 80, 82, and we call it our not tub. And on those 3 days in Vermont where it gets really stifling hot outside, because that's about the only time it does, we'll come sit in here and cool off, and it's really nice.
And there was a purpose behind getting this as well. Both of us were athletes as we were growing up, and both of us had, let's just say, injuries and aches and pains throughout the years. I mean, I could show you my medical records, and they were pretty extensive. But to have something that could help us in regards to one of those key infrastructures, which is health, this was a kind of a no-brainer in that regard, because it does provide some therapeutic capability that we wanted to have. And so as we continue to look at the things that we wanted to remove from someone else providing for us that we could provide for ourselves, we started building a list on a wish list.
A wish list, yeah. And every year we update it. We go through and we're like, oh, we did this, we did this, we did this. And it's kind of cool because it's just on notebook paper. It's very informal. And it's fun. And I just found it the other day. I was like, oh, we need to update our list.
Right.
So we'll have to do that. I think another big goal that we had that we've not really talked about when we got this place, because most people at this stage of life are downsizing, and we upsized, even though the kids were getting ready to go off and adult on their own and have their own homes and stuff. We upsized, and one of the reasons for that is because we wanted a place for our friends, our family, people in ministry that we knew, and people in the military, to have a place that they can come and just get some R&R. And we've hosted many families, most of whom we know. Some have brought parents with them or children with them. And so it's been a really joyful thing that we've been able to do. And it's good for us too to have time with our friends.
And we do imagine that in the future, the opportunity will exist for our family members around the world to come out here and have a place to stay that, doesn't have a requirement for them to pay anything, because if we're fully self-sufficient and self-functioning, then it's a free place for them to come and hang out and live for an extended period of time if they want. Some of the projects that we have already completed is this room. We enclosed the front porch because we liked to have an area out in the front that's usable during the summer months to just sit outside and enjoy what we consider to be God's wonderful creation. We built a garden in the back of our property. We filled in our pool. We built a pond down on the lower half of the property. We also built a small greenhouse in the back and wood sheds. So one of the things we're looking at is having a 4 seasons greenhouse where we can grow produce all year round. And so if you want to talk a little bit about
Sure. So normally what I've been doing up until now is I have tower gardens, and I can do some indoor growing throughout the year. But we want to do a 4 seasons greenhouse where we'll be able to grow throughout the year. And we're doing research on that now on exactly what that requires. We would be able to probably put our tower gardens out there as well. But if you don't have the means for a 4 season garden outside, you could always use a tower garden. And I'll put the link down in the comments because that might be something that you would really enjoy. We've had great success with that as well.
One of the other things that we're looking at doing is replacing our current heating system. So this house has multiple capabilities for heating, one being an oil burner and one being an outdoor wood furnace that burns wood, heats hot water, and circulates it through radiant systems throughout the house. Now, the wood burner is not as efficient as I would like it, but we still use it on occasion as supplemental heat. However, the primary heating source, which is an oil-fired oil burning furnace and water heater basically, is becoming to the point where it's not really viable. With 2022 oil and gas prices the way that they are, the prices for our heating oil have basically doubled since last year. With that said, we had already started looking at replacing all of that heating capability with extreme weather heat pumps, which will be hopefully done this summer. With supply chain issues and a bunch of other things, it has had to be put on the back burner, no pun intended, but we're hoping to get to that place where we replace our oil-fired furnace with an electric heat pump, which in turn would cause us to require more solar generation. So there's more things, and it seems like there's a never-ending list of things to do, but we're going to get to the point where it's zero footprint for what we're using in our home.
Speaking of lists of things to do,
Yep.
one of the things on your to-do list this week is to put my grow lights up because it's time to start seed starting for the garden.
Yep. So I guess that's going to be the next project that I have, because I think I'm supposed to have that done by Friday.
You are.
All right. So we're going to get on that, and that's going to be probably one of the videos that you guys will see soon.
Thanks for watching our video.
If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see future content of ours, go ahead and subscribe and then hit the bell for notifications. And once we get new content, new videos out, you'll be notified. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.